I wanted to give like a little simplified version of essentially what happens to the human body when running a caloric deficit. So we're gonna take this as like just kind of like the average person. We're not gonna include awesome genetics and so on and so forth, but we're gonna go with 130 pound female. So now there is an equation you can use to determine their basal metabolic rate. And what the basal metabolic rate is, that's essentially what you burn on a daily basis just to stay alive. So you look at like your heart, your adrenals, like all your organs and such. Your liver is big. It can use up to 20% of your daily BMR just to function. So I use, in this case, the Harris-Benedict equation. So that puts her at, she's 31 years old, 5'6", at 1,390 BMR. We're going to say she's moderately active, so we'll put her daily energy expenditure around 1,910 calories. So we're going to say she is looking to start a diet. You know, her clothes are fitting kind of tight. She's not sleeping well. She hasn't been eating the best. You know, she drinks alcohol regularly. So she Googles and, you know, maybe she comes across this and then it tells her to eat 500 less than her daily energy expenditure. Now, that's theoretically calculated numbers, but because she has less than, you know, she's having PMS symptoms, she's not sleeping 7 to 8 hours, so we can assume that hormones are not as optimized as they should be. Thyroid's not quite where it should be, so on and so forth. Stress isn't managed well. So her daily energy expenditure is probably less than that. But she's gonna go, let's say it gives her 1910. So she's gonna eat around like 1,450 calories, let's say. So we have her intake of food right here. Daily energy expenditure, basal metabolic rate, we're gonna say her fat and her muscle. So she begins this diet of 1,450 calories, and as time goes on, her daily energy expenditure is going to decrease. Because less calories, less movement, it's just how the body adapts. Her basal metabolic rate is also going to slowly decrease. Once again, adaptation to this caloric intake. Because let's say it's one of her first diets, so her body isn't super adapted, she's gonna lose a good amount of fat. So if we're looking at percentages, let's say, you know, you're losing 1 pound a week, 0.5 of that is going to be water. The other half is going to be a ratio between muscle and fat. So because, you know, let's say she wasn't horrible coming into this diet, she's going to start off losing 0.3 of fat and 0.2 of muscle. So she's in a positive balance. So she's losing more fat than she is muscle. So we're going to have a slowly decrease of muscle going on. But all of a sudden, you know, she's going along. We got a 3-month span here, and fat's dropping, then it kind of slows down. So what the internet has taught her, what previous fitness influencers or whatever, is she needs to decrease her intake of food. So she goes down to, let's say, 1,300 or less calories is what she goes down to. So now she's actually going to be losing more muscle, maybe a little bit more fat, but her BMR is going to keep going down along with her daily energy expenditure. So now we look at her starting points. Muscle was here and fat was here. Okay, so you can see how she's losing more muscle. BMR has gone down quite a bit. Daily energy expenditure has gone down quite a bit. So she's freaking out, she's stressed. Why can't she lose this weight? She's panicking, everything. So she bumps up a ton of cardio. Works out more, eats less food, right? So we get even more reduction in this, more reduction in BMR, fat stays the same. And in some circumstances, fat could actually go up. Muscle, really dropping. And like, this is the average person, believe it or not. This is what the average female especially does. This is how they diet and everything. So once again, we got our points here. You can see a big difference. Getting close to the starting point, right? So this is kind of what happens. And then, so all of a sudden, she's gotten this, her BMR is down here, her hormones are shot, her thyroid is shot, her liver's not working that great. She's having so much emotional stress, so she begins binge eating. She pulls out of the deficit. She's drinking alcohol, usual things that happen. So her food intake goes up. So let's say it goes up to like 2,000 calories now is where it's at. Daily energy expenditure is going to go up some, right? BMR is going to go up a little bit. But because of the big jump in food choices and the lack of hormone production, thyroid issues, all that kind of stuff, fat's going to go up quite a bit. Muscle will go up a little bit, right? So now she has this increase of everything. So she starts freaking out again. Clothes are fitting tight. She feels like she's getting chubby, all these kind of things. So she goes back and she's like, all right, I got to stop this. So she drops her calories back down to what last time she remembered losing weight. So we will say 1,300 calories is where she's going to be at. So now daily energy expenditure goes down, BMR goes down, fat doesn't go anywhere because her body has adapted. It thinks it's winter, it needs to hibernate, it needs to hold on, however you want to look at it, and muscle is going to really go down because she's focused on a weight loss goal. So now she got to 120 pounds, but majority of that, so this is where you hear the term skinny fat because her ratios changed and it went to 0.2 of fat and 0.3 of muscle for the weight she was losing. So now she's like what you call skinny fat. So as you can see, with the starting points, big difference in muscle, increase in fat, big drop in BMR, daily energy expenditure, and food intakes all over the place. She's a wreck. She's a mess, right? This is what I get a lot. Like I get a lot of people coming to me, and because of this, it's more than hormones. They now have lack of stomach acid production. They got gut dysbiosis. Like they have all these issues now that are not as simple as just eating more food and, work like most people that have worked with me know that it's you actually eat more, do less kind of thing and, optimize hormones and thyroid and so on and so forth. But it's not as simple for this person because she's been dieting so hard. She's got gut dysbiosis. She's got, no progesterone. She's having trouble with her periods. She's got all these issues. So coming out of this spot, these are the hard people to work with. These are the most difficult ones. You give me a really obese individual who's been eating 3,000 calories, right? They're really easy to work with as long as they don't got crazy gut issues. They're really easy to work with because we have a lot of BMR to work with. So your metabolism is what you've been eating. So you can come in and you can calculate these values and then you can kind of go 500 from there. But if she's only been eating 1,300 calories and you try to put her on that, it's just going to end up in this, right? So you have to base it off what she's been eating. So if she's only been eating 1,300 calories, you got to go 1,350, 1,400. You got to slowly bring her way up, right? But now let's say we take this girl, 130 pounds. She's content with her body. She wants more of a butt. She wants bigger shoulders. She don't care about the way her clothes fit. So this is a unicorn, by the way. Okay. She's eating 1,900 calories. Okay. She's eating her maintenance for her daily energy expenditure. So she eats more food. We put her up to 2,000 calories. Daily energy expenditure goes up. BMR starts to go up. Fat, maybe up a little bit, probably close to the same. Because we're focusing on a hypertrophy program, we're optimizing her sleep, we're optimizing her hormones, her liver detoxification is on point. All these things are happening. Her stress management, she's meditating, she's going for walks, she's drinking lots of water, lots of salt, right? She is building muscle. Okay? So 1 month goes by, we go up to 2,100 calories, maybe even more. Sometimes you can go up faster than that depending on the person, genetics, whatever. Daily energy expenditure goes up. She's working hard at work. She's getting promotions. She's getting raises, right? BMR is going up. Fat up ever so slightly. Right? It's simple. Like you'd be really genetically gifted not to gain fat, but that's okay. Muscle going up quite a bit, right? So then we do this 3-month period of all this occurring, right? We got her at the end of 3 months. She is at, we'll say 2,350. Some cases 2,500 calories. Believe it or not, 100%. She's gone up to 135 pounds now. That's it. She just gained 5 pounds over this 3 months, but she put on a bunch of muscle. She's got a butt now. She got shoulders. She got lats. She's happy with that. She wants to slim down a little more though. She maybe noticed a little bit around her stomach region, whatever. She wants to get rid of it some. So theoretically, by calculation, she burns 1,900. So we're going to minus 500 of that if you're healthy. But she's eating 2,500. That's where her metabolism is now, because she took the time to build this BMR, this basal metabolic rate. Everything's firing at a higher efficiency. She's got no PMS symptoms. She's sleeping through the whole night. You name it, I can go on. So because she's healthy, you can maybe only do 200-300, right? So put her down to, we'll say 2150 calories. And then what's gonna happen is she's gonna have a slight reduction in BMR. She's gonna have a big drop in fat, and she's gonna maintain muscle. This is how you wanna do it. And I'd say good luck getting someone to do more than 3 months, but if you can do 6 to 8 months of the year, you're laughing. You're setting yourself up for life. You're setting yourself up for efficiency. You are setting yourself up so you don't eat freaking salads to try to keep the weight off and hate yourself and just have all these issues and whatnot. So this is how you want to do it. You want to eat more, right? And obviously eat more of the right stuff. Obviously make sure guts are optimal when increasing food. Hormones are optimal. That training is you're recovering from training. That's a big one. I want to go on about that eventually, but don't overtrain. You can still overtrain when you're eating a bunch of food. So make sure your training is optimal. But this is what you want to do. This is what's going to set you up for life longevity, disease prevention, and always looking good. And then what happens is let's say, okay, you slip off for a bit and you end up eating 3,000 calories because you go for a couple, you go eat out a couple times a week for a consistent period of time. Your BMR is going to be I forgot to write that in here, sorry, but your BMR starts at 1390. So her BMR, that's going to go up to 1850. There's no reason that it can't get up to there, right? And so now, okay, I put on some fluff from eating out too much. I'll just do a little mini cut. 4 weeks. It'll come off like that. You'll get that drastic reduction in fat. You'll keep a bit of muscle. BMR will barely decline, right? And so this is where it's a lifestyle. You hear all these influencers and everything preaching now, and it's lifestyle and everything. This is what they mean, right? This is what they mean by this in order to achieve, a greater basal metabolic rate. So your metabolism is what you eat. Yes, genetics play a huge role. Environment is absolutely everything. So you want to make sure genetics you can't fully control, but the environment will influence your genetics. So there's obviously some control there, nutrient deficiencies, whatever, right? So yeah, eat some more food. Don't be afraid.